Alright, so for this video we will be doing a top end for Mr. Jared Weems. He has a project I believe he's calling The Judge. I think he's done quite a bit of history on it, so you can go check that out and learn what you need to learn. I get the pleasure of reviving these worn out bits. Actually, overall, it looks pretty good. I mean, other than the Florida swamp tucked away inside all the corners, it's actually a pretty clean top end. Just real quick looking at it, you can tell all the threads are good for the rocker boxes, which you know how those corners are always torn up. Both the spigots are in the head tight. I mean, all the little details that you normally see for the abuse on these, it really isn't bad. The only thing I noticed right off the bat was there is a crack here. Not that surprising. It's almost guaranteed whether it was abused or not. I think you can just look at them funny and they'll crack. So I'll probably go ahead and do, I might just do all four. So I'll sleeve those for him, and then that way we don't have to worry about it being a problem in the future. He does want the patina left on this, so I will be blasting just the combustion chambers and the ports, but what cleanup does happen will just be from handling, so I won't be doing the outside. Same with the jug, yeah, so he did send these old Cyclecraft pistons, so hopefully we can catch, it's at standard now, so hopefully at 20 we can remove any pitting if there is any. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this head disassembled, and I'm going to blast the carbon out from around the guides and get the guides knocked out, and then we can kind of go from there. I'm going to get some of that before action so you guys can see the contrast and change. It's super important to get all the carbon out from around your guides. I've seen time and time again dudes just get all sorts excited and start wailing on guides, and it drags a bunch of carbon out with it, and now all of a sudden you just oversize your hole. Get it clean. Get it clean. Even if you don't want the outside to be clean, get that carbon off that guide, out from around it. There's a really tight pocket that actually is like, I'll show you once I get it out, but ooh, look at that. Yeah, swampy. Man, Florida's the best. No disrespect. I actually lived in Florida for like a year, so it's fun for me to see a little reminder here and there. But woo hoo hoo hoo. The other thing I noticed while I was playing with this, the spark plug hole on that side's pretty chewed up. It's actually probably not going to hold another torque. So what I'm going to do is probably just go ahead and do both, because this one looks okay, but it's probably on its way out too. Those threads are probably pretty thin. So if I'm going to do one, I might as well do them both. So I'll go ahead and do a helicoil on those. But yeah, now I'm going to clean this up and show you what's up. I thought you guys could get some eyes on this straight out the dry blaster before I cook it and knock these guides out. Actually, it's kind of funny. If you look right here, I was trying to wipe just the dust off, and the grime just started coming off. And Jared did say that his cases cleaned up a little better than he expected, so I think a lot of this is going to be coming off. I'll probably run it through the sonic cleaner with some heavy detergent just to get it as clean as possible, but anyway, you can see that crack a little bit better. It goes all the way to the valve seat, which is very common. So I'm going to talk to him about that and make sure doing a repair is okay. And then obviously you could probably notice the amount of pitting on that side. Not much we can do there. I will, because I'm not vapor blasting this, I probably will take some Scotch-Brite balls and buff these chambers, so then that way they're just a magnet for carbon to stick to. So that's always a good idea. I obviously would normally vapor blast it, which kind of slicks up the surface, but as of right now, this would just be a carbon magnet. But yeah, you can kind of get an idea of what this is going to clean up like. I will bake this and then knock these guides out. and then we'll know what size. These are probably, I'm 99.9% positive these are standard guides, so as long as they don't fall out, then we know we don't need to go oversized or anything crazy. Guides are out, and I went ahead and blasted one more time just to clean up what was left. They are standard, and they're pretty tight, so all things that you want to see, all things that make me happy. I'm waiting to hear back from him on the crack repair. I don't know if I did do this on video once before a while ago, but I actually just bore these out and then press in a sleeve. In my experience and talking to other people, welding it up doesn't really fix the problem because you'll never actually remove the full amount of damage, if that makes sense. So the crack's always going to be there on the backside, so it's going to find its way back through. The best thing I've been able to figure out is just putting a steel sleeve in there to then kind of protect it from being crushed. And then it obviously lessens the chance of oil leaking down in from the rocker box. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of opinions out there, a lot of probably, you know, people thinking different things about that, but it seems to work. I do that a lot, so that would be my repair on this. I would like to just go ahead and do all four if he's okay with that, but we'll see. I'm going to wait. So I think we'll jump onto the cylinder while we wait for a response. I just like to do those types of repairs before I get into like new guides being in it and start handling all that. So we'll leave this sit and we'll jump over on the cylinders. This thing will save your life. They come in different widths. It's funny because a lot of automotive YouTube channels talk about these. I've known about these for a really long time because these are actually made in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So they're very, very close. It's funny because I think half the machines and tools in my shop are all made in Iowa, which is kind of ironic. But yeah, if you look close, a lot of things were manufactured here, and I don't know why, but I love it. It's fun looking at a lot of the little VIN tags and stuff, and everything says, you know, made in different big cities here in Iowa. I have a grimy old ball hone that I always, if I get like a cylinder that's really rough on the inside, I like to just kind of do a couple passes. One, so I can see what's going on. Two, I don't like putting grimy stuff on my nice boring bar, especially when I do those little fingers to center it. But you can see this jug's not that bad. I mean, you can kind of see the shine and everything. It's not too bad. This one definitely had water sitting in it. There's a really good line of corrosion. It still didn't knock it down even with that ball hone. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to actually do this one first just to make sure that I do get it clean at the 20 that he wants me to get it to, because again, he had sent me those Cyclecraft pistons to match it. So I'm going to start on this side, see if I can catch it at 20. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead, do that one. I got this side checked on the surface plate to make sure I didn't have any high spots or anything weird, and then you saw me scraping the bottom side. So we're ready to go in the boring bar. I'm going to get that set up. I know I've said this like a million times that, you know, I'm not trying to make tutorials or anything, but it was kind of fun learning how to use this machine. I actually didn't have anybody to show me. I did talk to Dan over the phone, so he kind of walked me through it, but then I did try and find, and there really isn't any videos on how to use one of these. So I don't know, for a second I thought about doing it, but I don't know, I'm not the authority on it, so I always get scared. You know, somebody else has their opinion. Same with like the crank grinder. You know, there's not very many videos on how to use a crank grinder, so it's not something I exactly want to be the person to go to, because I learned from somebody else, and then the rest I just kind of had to teach myself. So again, I'd probably say something wrong or show you how to do something that somebody else would find wrong. So not for me to do, but I do love this machine. I've said that every time I use it. But
I use that flame ring as kind of the reference as to where to put my blocks,
so then that way I know I'm not going to accidentally clip it with the cutting bit. Once you kind of got it where you want it, then I can start cranking up, get it pinched. Make sure nothing's catching. We're all in the right spot here. Get some pressure on it. So once you get this squished, then you locate the bar into the center of the jug, and it's got these 3 little fingers that you kind of extend out and then find the center line. Kind of guesstimate center, and then there's all sorts of different sizes of these, but there's these 3 little fingers, and you always want to make sure that the bottoms of these holes are cleaned out. I just got done blowing them out, so we know they're ready to go. Drop the bar down into it, make sure not to catch any. Then I'm going to find a clean spot. I kind of usually locate in a couple different depths of the bore, so then that way I know I'm good to go, because you know, one spot might be a little worn and cause you to be a little off, which you don't want to bore your whole cylinder based on a spot that's a little off. But there's a knob at the top that you twist and it extends. I don't know if you could see that moving, but it extends those little pins outward against the cylinder wall, and then it kind of locates it. So I'll back it off, move it a little bit, and then do it again just to really make sure I'm in a good spot. And then once you know you're kind of nice and snug, there's a bolt here on the side. It pulls there's a T block or T nut that's anchored to the deck, and then you tighten this down and it sucks it against it to lock it in. And now you've locked the boring bar perfectly centered to that bore of the cylinder. Freshly sharpened cutter. It says to do it between every single cylinder, and it does make a really big difference. You can sometimes get 2 out of it, but it's just worth touching it up. It's super easy. So I wish you could see the faceting on this. I don't know if it's gonna... If I get too close, it won't focus. It always yells at me. But anyway, put that in, and then I've got my micrometer set to standard, since this is a standard bore. So I like doing 1 pass just to make sure I'm good and centered. You don't want to jump and then be off by a considerable amount and it just throws everything off. It's really unfortunate when that happens, but I like to let it spring back a couple times, make sure I'm seated, and then tighten it down. I don't know why I'm pretending this is a tutorial after I just said I'm not doing one, but this is how I do it. Turn it on. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but I can just faintly hear something touching. So it's just a whisper of cut. So that kind of tells me that we're pretty good to go. I'm not heavily cutting on one side or the other. So I'm actually going to end it. And then we'll get it in gear to come back up. I'm going to actually I'll probably do 10 on this first pass. See where we're at with that. Okay, so think you're going to be able to kind of see what is going on. That is why I wanted to start on this side, because we can already see at 10 thousandths, it's not looking too hot. I don't know how I can. I want to sneak you guys in there better, but I don't know if I can. If I go like, oh, there we go. So that kind of gives you an idea of how bad these can be. This is making me a little suspicious about the 20 thousandths that we're trying for, but I am going to measure the pistons and set up my dial bore gauge, and we will go from there. Okay, so we're looking at 2.810. Now, what I'm gonna do is set up, because that's kind of, obviously we'll bore over that because we want that 4.5 thousandths clearance. I'm just gonna set up right at the piston so that we can kind of see where we're at, because if we're not even close there, then we know it's a no-go and we're gonna have to go up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set up the dial bore gauge for that. Now, I think I just got done doing 20s with this, so it should be close. Yep. Overshot it a little bit. Okay. So let's kind of see what we got over here. Okay, so I can safely take out 5 more. So I mean, this is kind of redundant. I already know that this is not going to clean up at 5, but we'll do 5 just for entertainment purposes. All right, as we expected, it is not clean at 20. So I just sent him some pictures. We'll see what the plan is next, but it's pretty deep. I might be convinced enough to say that it would clean at 40. You know, another 20 thousandths is a pretty big jump, but it would definitely smoke. You know, like every once in a while I got guys that say, oh, let's just run it like this. I don't like that. You're definitely going to have problems. You may even catch a ring, but you're not going to seat a ring properly. It's going to hold a lot of oil. You're going to have a fair amount of smoke on that cylinder. So I'm going to just leave it here for now and wait to see what he would like me to do. Well, the answer was to take it till it's clean, so that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I'm happy. I'm just going to go probably another 10, see what that looks like, and then so on and so on. I really hope to get it at 40, but if we can't, then I guess we're going to 60. All right, with 2 thousandths left for hone, 40 thousandths took it, so it looks kind of rough. The cutter left a line there when it was coming back up, but once I get it out of here, you'll see it better. But I'm happy with that. That'll definitely be acceptable. Like I said, I've got 2 thousandths left over on the hone, but that is definitely going to pass. And this side we know is going to clean up just fine. That one's significantly better. Jared said that this side was the rings were stuck, which is, you know, blatantly obvious at this point. But I grabbed this other pre-unit head so I could show you why I don't weld them. It's not like my idea. I didn't come up with the welding is a bad idea myself. I kind of just learned it from talking to people and seeing what other people were doing. But this is a head that I was sent because it's been welded multiple times and the crack keeps coming through. And, you know, I think the first time I saw that, I just kind of blamed it and said, oh, you know, somebody's just a bad welder. And then you start talking to people and you find out that no matter how many times you have it welded, it's probably going to crack again. And so, like I said, you know, through talking to people and figuring stuff out, you kind of realize, well, the best option is to just support that hole with a steel sleeve, and you know, it is what it is. Like the biggest issue with like a crack up to a valve seat would be that the valve seat would fall out, but because Triumph casts their valve seats in and they're trapezoidal in shape, that seat can't fall out. So I mean, there are other issues, there's other things to worry about, but you know, even if I grind this out and weld it up, it's just going to come right back. So I'm going to drill and ream this, and it's an interference fit, so it's nice and tight. I'll press that in, we'll cut them off so they're nice and flush, and this steel sleeve will then take all of the abuse from the torque. So it's a worthwhile upgrade, I think, on these. We are going to just do this one. He said just fix the cracked one, so we'll get that done, and then I can get some guides in this head. Looking a bit dirty, but reamed out the hole. Should be nice and snug in there. I will put some high temp sleeve retainer on it too, but yeah, so it works out really good. It's actually the same size ream and everything for the plugs I put in the crankshaft. So okay, I'm hoping I can get an angle on here that I can show you how far that crack goes. I keep saying focusing failed. I'm just gonna have to do it from far away. Hopefully you can see the crack goes all the way down. You can maybe just make out that discoloration in there. That's actually the edge of the valve seat on the backside, and that crack goes all the way down to it. So in theory, what you can see on this side and what you can see on this side, that's a crack all the way through. So in order to weld this, you would have to drill, or not drill, but cut out all the way, you know, to the valve seat, and then build all this back up and then re-drill it in order for the repair to be complete, you know, completely eliminating the crack. But a lot of guys just V this out, throw a weld on top, call it good, but the crack still exists on that side, so it's only a matter of time before it would find its way back through. So again, what I'm doing isn't, I'm not saying I'm doing something better. You know, welding is the right way to do it, but it just doesn't make sense. I can't do it. It doesn't last. It's just, it's not, for me, it's not the right repair. I'm sure there's some alchemist out there that's going to say otherwise, but this is what I do. It works. I'm not telling you this is what you have to do too. Do whatever you want. And I'm not saying anybody else is wrong, but I'm going to put a bunch of sleeve retainer on that, high temp sleeve retainer, press it in, and then I will, I don't deck surfaces. Everybody's always, oh, you decked it, you decked it. I will, I'll polish this surface so it's nice and flat. How about that? I won't be removing any more material than it takes to get this all one flat surface. Alright, there you go. It's flat. You can see the lead in on this side a little bit more, because I kind of, to help myself get it in without galling anything or taking any material, I took a little bit of that edge off, so now you can kind of see where they come together. So not ideal aesthetically, but obviously it works just the same. But this side I'm very happy with. But now when like it's being torqued, instead of it pressing on a cracked hole, it will be, all the stress will be taken up by the steel sleeve. So that should actually help quite a bit. Yeah, that's done. Now I can get the guides in. I'm actually probably going to finish, I took a break on the cylinder, so I'm going to finish the bore job, and then I'll bounce back and forth between guides and honing. J55 stones, getting this thing honed out. Like I said, I usually leave a couple thousandths to finish hone it. So it takes a little bit. I take a lot of breaks, so that way I'm not getting a bad reading from temperature. I learned that the hard way a long time ago, so it takes a little while, but it's worth taking the break. Also, my friend Nick Norton said some really rude things about my gloves, so now I have to show them intentionally so that way he can see them. I won't say what he said. As soon as I get done honing this thing, I got the guides in, so I'll hone those next. I got to Dan's D a little bit here and thank him for getting these things to me so quick. I ran out of standards and gave him a call and he hooked me up. He's a super rad dude. He's been incredibly helpful to me, so go buy something from him. I got cylinders drip drying here. Head is now ready to get the seats cut. I honed these guides, so now they are ready to get the 3-angle face done. I'll do a really deep clean on this, get all the oil off. I did run it through the did run it through the sonic cleaner yesterday, and it didn't come out too clean, which is good because he does want the patina on there a little bit. But I did mention before, I do want to kind of scrub these combustion chambers, smooth them up a little bit so they're not so abrasive from the dry blasting. You can kind of see it's got that real white, like opaque kind of look. So I will try and kind of knock down and smooth it out a little bit. Nothing crazy. I'm not trying to polish it, but I do want it to look a little bit nicer and smoother so it's not quite a carbon magnet. That's where we're at here. I don't know if you can see the crosshatch. That'll need to be cleaned out. Try and save as much hone oil as I can. There's no reason throwing it out, so I like to let things just kind of sit. And I got after this exhaust seat first. The way I kind of go about it is I just get that 45 started. That way I know, you know, when you put in a new guide, you're going to have a little bit of misalignment, but get that 45 cleaned up, and then I will actually put the new valve in and then kind of trace where it's laying, so then that way I don't over or under work anything. Then just start cleaning everything up. These don't have a 30 degree. You can actually see how dished the original seats are, the way they're cut, but they don't actually have a 30. It's usually just the hemispherical angle matched right up to that 45. Sometimes there'll be a slight cupping where they will clean that out, but what I'm doing with that 30 is pretty aggressive. So what you have to do is then deshroud that angle, or like where they meet up. So when the hemispherical chamber comes in, and then it doesn't just have this harsh line, you kind of blend it out nicely. So it does kind of give the illusion of like aggressive pocketing sometimes. You know, I get done with a head and the seat itself, you know, the valve protrusion is only gained maybe a few thousandths, but overall the appearance kind of looks as though the seat is now pocketed. So I always try and warn people of that because I don't want them to think that I just buried their seat. But yeah, so that's kind of the way I go about it. But it's a 60, 45, 30, and then a D-shroud angle to make it look pretty and have a nice flow to it. But I'm going to keep going on this. I've got a long ways to go to get this 45 narrowed up because they're just so big. And then I'll get a good face on that valve, and then I'll show you. But yeah, so I'm going to get going on these. There's not much to see. It's kind of boring. As soon as I get these seats done, the cylinder just needs a little bit more cleaning up, and I'll be able to send this back. So I told him I'd have it back to him as fast as possible. I know he's got a goal for a show or a ride or something. All 4 seats are cut, 3-angle faces, like I said, 30, 45, 60, and then that D-shroud. I'm pretty happy that the exhausts aesthetically appear better. Like I said, because the way I deshroud it and everything, it gives that illusion of like a pocketed seat, but it's usually a few thousandths change when you cut these seats, so it just looks bad, but it's not. I got Sharpie on this one so you can hopefully kind of see where that face is landing on these valves. But yeah, so I am happy with how this turned out. It was a pretty unabused head. A lot of these I get, they're already so pocketed and so, you know, just destroyed by some guy who didn't know what he was doing. So this one was actually in really good shape other than that pitting on this side. And again, you know, if this was like, I don't know, this was a race bike or something crazy, you could go in and try and massage all this out. I've seen guys even weld it all up, which is, you know, magic in itself. But you could smooth all this out, but you'd want to re-CC them, you know, make sure. I mean, if you're going to go to that far, then there's like a lot of other steps that are involved. So to me, it's just not worth it. Or to me and Jared, it's not worth it. So really the only thing I've left to do on this head is I'm going to go ahead and put the spark plug repair on both sides. That way it's just done. And then I'll check valve spring compression on the install and make sure they need what shims they need. And then, yeah, this will be done. Outside of that, I'll kind of just finish up and I'll have this thing ready to go. I'll mail it back to them in the morning. Top end's all done, ready to go back. I'm going to get it in the box and sent today. Did both sides, I think I said I was going to, but yeah, I ended up doing both. I don't think they were going to survive very many more torquings of spark plugs, so I'm glad I did that. I got some shims under these spring seats, so yeah, turned out really good. I'm very happy with it. Outside of that pitting, this head's really nice. I'm not even going to count that crack because good luck finding one, and even if you do, it'll probably crack while you own it. But gasket surface nice and flat, both sides. There's really no damage. I don't imagine this head was off much, if any, during the life of this bike. So pretty good deal. Nice and grimy still for him, so that way when he gets it all back together, it's like it's never been touched. So kind of cool. Cylinders cleaned up really nicely. If you look super close, there is a little bit of pitting left. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. Kind of used to it on cylinders of this vintage. So I don't know if I could even find any to show you. But nothing really to worry about. Like I said, it's just a couple little spots here and there. I think maybe you could see a couple there. But either way, again, the cylinder, once we got past all that rust, it turned out really nice. They're both nice and straight. Oh, maybe you can see that little bit there. Maybe not, I don't know. But either way, good to go. I'm going to move on to the next project. This video probably wasn't that good. I'm still kind of getting back into the flow of things. I have, 3 more top ends I need to do. And actually, ironically, all of them are patina top ends, so I won't be doing any cleaning up on that one. Or I won't be doing any cleaning up on this one either. So a bunch of people are just kind of running their original look, which I love. I'm very into that, so I do not have any problems with it. If that's what you want, that's what I'll do. I have a couple Norton top ends I gotta do, and another Norton head. So I'll try and keep things going. I'd like to get onto, hold on, let's go over by it. I would really like to get another video done of my personal engine. I'm kind of getting down to the end, and I really just need to knock it out. I haven't talked to you guys about the rocker boxes or the intakes or any of this, so the top end's just kind of mocked up right now. I need to finish quite a few things on it, but I need to make a video of this, button it up. I'll probably do that, I don't know, hopefully this weekend maybe, we'll see. But yeah, I want to do something fun because just doing these top ends is getting kind of boring.